Okay, we're recording this and we are live on Facebook also. So
Aloha and Komomai. I'm Lila Mower, President of Kokua Council. Welcome to our 2023 Annual Community Forum to present our legislative priorities. We're running a little bit late, so I'm going to start right in with the presentation of priorities. The first person to present legislative priorities is Mr. Dan.
you should come up here and speak into the mic.
The Kokua Council. There's new location, thanks to Rick Tabor. Thank you, Rick.
I don't know why it's showing Blaisdell here.
Wait.
It should be showing us. This is not.
Oh. Okay, anyway. My name's Dale Head, and I've been active with Kokua for a couple of years, and several years going to the legislature, trying to get some justice for people who live in homeowners associations. We're managed by commercial companies. They take care of the money, and supposedly they take care of the elections. Well, they take care of us in ways of like a contract. They take advantage of us, okay? So I got a bill introduced this year, 2023, to do away with what they call proxies, because they use them wrongfully to control meetings. For instance, my organization given 74 proxies signed before the poll, 26 for oh sure. Okay. Say again regarding the proxies. Developers, when they write your bylaws, say that if you're not physically present in the meeting, we got a proxy. This goes back to the management company. The management agent receives all of them. The 1 year I did an audit, found like 74 for the boards, or 20, divided evenly between board members who were there, but they were kept together as 101 a block. There were 404 votes, the openings we had. They found those secretly to the people on the inner circle of the board who had less support of the owners to keep them on. It was very unfair. It's like a magical trick you're perpetrating in front of people. You don't see it happen. Even though you're watching, you don't see it happen. Okay. Anyway, this year, 2023, I got a bill introduced, do away with proxies, where you could vote by mail or online. Oh, what a revolutionary idea. The post office has been around for over 100 years. And this is my bill this year, and it's good for next year too. It didn't get a hearing. The reason it didn't get a hearing is people opposed the bill make donations. Like here's one attorney gave over $26,000 to 15 legislators. This includes the committee chairs who schedule these bills. Now here's another one. This is the West Maui senator. She raked in over $1 million over a decade. And she's been blocking bills for many years. We got one 2019 passed for no navels. Is unanimous to pass. All right. Supposed to go to the Senate. Well, she was getting payments from an IA attorney who opposes that, so no hearing. It died again. And you can go to the great website called followthemoney.org, type in any politician. Look who their donors are. After a while, you type in donors, that's where it works real good. Then you get this. This is a list of politicians that give money to. And you can use a highlighter and you can find out who's blocking these bills. All right. I go into hearings and I already know that the person opposing the bill who's recognized as talking has given money to those politicians. They don't mention that. Politicians don't mention it. This is a conflict of interest. You know? Part of human nature is greed, all right? Anywhere money accumulates, you have, it attracts the wrong people. The place I was at recently made the news for, a big embezzlement of over $300,000. I think they've been doing it for a very, very long time. And it's hard to get the media to pick up on this stuff. But when I ask for scheduling of a bill, I'm just one person. So this matter of voting rights really going to need several people to call, send emails to the assigned committee chair. Just my one doesn't get it, and I don't send cash stuffed envelopes or big checks, okay? So I don't have any horsepower down there. They regard me like a mosquito buzzing in your ear. Shoo away, okay? But if you want honesty in government at the homeowner association level, you gotta get control of that board. Has it represent the owners, not the managing agent, as it's too often the case. That's all I have to say. Any questions?
We'll take questions afterwards.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. The next presenter is Ray Misakian, two measure.
So I have my presentations written, and I'm just going to read them just to make it more streamlined. First, I want to say thank you for the opportunity to discuss
Don't be afraid to speak and then talk into the mic.
a very important legislative priority, which is meant to help all condominium owners throughout Hawaii. So the first legislative priority that I'm presenting is the State Ombudsman's Office to address condominium association concerns and complaints. Last year, the Kokua Council supported several consumer protection measures meant to help condominium owners. I, along with Lila Mower, president of the Kokua Council, co-wrote two of these measures, which were introduced as HB1298 and HB1501, to establish a state ombudsman's office for condominium owners. HB178 is more comprehensive, encompassing HOAs, planned community associations, and cooperatives. We hope these bills are referred to the proper committees for discussion and testimony in 2024. We will also be working to update and revise these measures. There's an urgent need to have better consumer protections for condominium owners and to have a state agency where owners can go to address disputes they have with their association boards or management companies, including concerns of mismanagement, misconduct, retaliation, and violations of 514B statutes and the association's governing documents. So far this year, 3 neighborhood boards have adopted a consumer protection resolution for condominium owners, which supports the need for a state ombudsman's office. Resolutions were adopted by the Ala Moana Neighborhood Board in February, the Waikiki Neighborhood Board in July, and the Makali Mo'iliili Neighborhood Board in September. To emphasize just how urgent this issue has become, on April 6th of this year, Civil Bee published a story titled Hawaii Property Management Giant Under Scrutiny. The story is about one of the largest condominium management companies in Hawaii that was operating without a license from January 1st of this year through early April, over 3 months. You would think that after being unlicensed for a few weeks, that someone at the Department of Commerce and Consumer Affairs or the Real Estate Commission would have noticed and initiated an investigation. Unfortunately, that's not the case, and the complaint came from outside of the DCCA and Real Estate Commission. This is also the management company that oversees my condominium association. We voted them out last year, but there's been no action taken to replace them. I was elected to the Condominium Association's board in March of this year as treasurer, and I am now dealing with misconduct by board members, our site manager, and our management company and community manager. These are These are some additional news headlines that tell more of the story. Here are just a few recent ones from Civil Beat. May 9th, 2023. Is the deck stacked against condo owners? Critics say oversight by the State Real Estate Commission means owners get shortchanged in favor of associations, management firms, and lawyers. July 13th, 2023. Prominent Honolulu condo directors pay $600,000 to settle retaliation claim. The case pitted a retired Army colonel against executives with leading developers. July 21st, 2023. Oahu condo board members feel muzzled by management companies. Hired to manage properties, the companies frequently tell board members to not talk to contractors or others outside of board meetings. And the most recent and most concerning, October 10th, 2023. This YNA condo development has lost hundreds of thousands of dollars to embezzlement. Here are a few excerpts from this story. Condo association officials won't say he might have stolen the money, which appears to have disappeared over time, and through phony invoices for work that was never performed. The total loss has been pegged at $339,364.83, which appears to make it the largest loss of its kind uncovered in Hawaii. Hawaiian Properties has now reimbursed the full amount stolen, along with legal fees incurred by the Condominium Association, the letter reported. Hawaiian Properties has identified suspects believed to have carried out the theft and filed a criminal complaint with the city prosecutors, but requested that details remain confidential, according to the board's letter. Consequently, we are unable to disclose the names of the suspected parties or vendors at this time, the letter stated. I think these news articles by themselves highlight why a state ombudsman is urgently needed to help condominium owners, but here are some other reasons why. I'm going to go a little longer on this one, and my second one is going to be very, very brief. Condominium maintenance fees and insurance costs are going up exponentially due to mismanaged associations and deferred maintenance. This is not sustainable, and Kokua and others with fixed budgets could be forced to sell their homes or lose them to foreclosure. Homeowners who complain to their association boards or management companies are often ignored and sometimes retaliated against. Owners need a way to address abuse of power by association board members or management company agents. Many association board members do not understand their fiduciary duty of care, the business judgment rule, Hawaii Revised Statutes 514B, or even their own governing documents. Association attorneys and managing agents tend to follow along for the ride when bad decisions are made by the board, most likely because they are being paid. Mediation statistics have proven the majority are not successful, and the ones that show closed or resolved have no published details to know if they were in fact resolved in a satisfactory manner. To highlight this even further, a recent Real Estate Commission condominium bulletin published in March shows 18 mediations filed. 16 of these show mediated no agreement. The other 2 do not have a disposition. Mediation is also costly, although others, including the Department of Commerce and Consumer Affairs and the Real Estate Commission, will tell you something different. The cost to just file for mediation is $375, and almost always there are attorneys representing the association. An owner will need to hire an attorney to be best represented and successful against other attorneys on the other side. A nice payday for the attorneys and not so much for the owners. From my experience and the experience of many others, the Hawaii Department of Commerce and Consumer Affairs and the Regulated Industries Complaints Office are not helpful to assist to resolve complaints, and either push back and don't accept them, or accept them and then close them without any resolution. I have numerous examples of this and for clear and valid concerns. To conclude, the residents of Hawaii have had enough. I know I have. We all need a state agency that will actually do something versus one that doesn't. And we need to have laws that are enforceable with accountability, including fines and jail time. Bad actors deserve fines and jail time. And homeowners deserve the peaceful enjoyment of their homes and not spending countless hours and their money to fight corruption and deal with unethical board members and managing agents and the predatory attorneys that they hire. And I apologize for going over my time. I have a second one that's going to be very brief. The second legislative priority just came about recently in a discussion with a healthcare provider. This has to do with homeless support for personal information and records, and a safe and secure option to mitigate lost IDs, social security cards, personal records, which eventually can lead to long delays for services and housing. So I was recently informed by a healthcare provider who has experience with the homeless that there is a problem with lost IDs, social security cards, and other personal records. As a result, homeless in need are sometimes not able to obtain services and have difficulty getting much needed housing. The process to get certified and acceptable copies of these records can take a very long time and cost money. And he indicated improvements are needed in the process, and homeless also need a place to safely keep their personal documents and records. I've done some initial investigation and will be researching more, and I hope to determine what, if any, legislation can be proposed that will provide a better statewide support system within the already established departments or tasked to assist the homeless. Any thoughts and suggestions are welcome if we have time for a Q&A or by emailing the Kokua Council. And I thank you for allowing me to go over it first.
Good. Oh, Blaisdell will be giving a short presentation. HK.
All right, so our next presenter is Dr. HB Blaisdell. Welcome, Dr. to Kokua Council.
Aloha and thank you. Just a brief background. I'm a Native Hawaiian physician and I also represent Hawaii psychiatrists. And it has come to our attention that there are some who think that one way to improve access would be to allow non-psychiatrists to prescribe medications. We'd like to urge primary care doctors to prescribe for their patients, and we as psychiatrists would support that. The model is called collaborative care legislation. And so we would ask the Kokua Council to keep our seniors, our kupunas, safe by making sure that people with appropriate medical education prescribe and not people with inappropriate education. Just a reminder that psychologists do not go to medical school, don't take chemistry, don't take biology, don't know how the heart and lungs work. And so we want to keep everybody safe. That's all. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Our next presenter is John McDermott. And John, I believe you said you have 2 measures to present, right?
John, we know that's not your real voice. Where is John? What happened to John? He must have checked out in order to sign back in. Oh, here he is. Waiting room. Let's see if we can get him in here. He's joining.
Okay, can you hear me now?
We can hear you now.
Okay, sorry about that. I always have that problem first time that I get on this. So I'm the State Long-Term Care Ombudsman. I'm part of the Executive Office on Aging, and my job is to advocate for anybody who's living in a long-term care facility. And the 2 bills that I wanted to introduce, one has already been introduced by Representative John Mizuno. It's House Bill 916, and that is to increase the personal needs allowance from $50 to $75. So anybody who's living in a long-term care facility who's on Medicaid, and we're talking about nursing homes, we're talking about community care, family foster homes, and we're talking about expanded adult residential care homes. If you're on Medicaid, all of your income goes to the facility as your cost share, and you're allowed to keep $30 a month from your Social Security check. And then in addition to that, our state kicks in $20. So that's a total of $50. And that took many years to increase to $50. And that number really is very low compared to other states. So if you, I just Googled personal needs allowance by state, and these are the numbers as of January the 1st, 2023. So on a monthly basis, Alaska, you get $200. Arizona, $126.15. Colorado, $93.17. Connecticut, $75. District of Columbia, $70. Florida, $130. On and on. $84 Maryland, $72.80 Massachusetts. So anybody can look this up. There are some states that are less than us. Alabama is only 30, so they still are the original amount since 1982, I think. But Hawaii is a very expensive state. And that personal needs allowance goes for when you want to buy some new clothes, when you want to buy shoes, you know, those kinds of things are not really covered by Medicaid. If you want to have cable TV, some facilities provide that for free and some do not. If you want to get a haircut, some provide that for free, some do not. My cell phone is $71 a month. I would have a hard time not having my smartphone because that is my internet, that's my photo gallery, that's my music, that's everything. So the problem with House Bill 916 is it did not have a Senate companion bill, so it died. And so we want to make sure that both House and the Senate are on the same page and that House Bill 916 passes this time. So again, these are, you know, the poorest of the poor in terms of our long-term care residents. And so we need to testify on their behalf because for the most part, they cannot do so themselves. Second bill has to do with trying to find pro bono attorney. So again, with those people who are on Medicaid and $50 a month does not pay for much of an attorney. And so if somebody is being discharged inappropriately or unsafely, and they want to appeal that, they have the right to an attorney. But good luck finding a pro bono attorney who will do this, because most attorneys don't know about nursing home regulations. So it would be a great investment in their time to do the research. And they're not going to win much in terms of a settlement. If all they do is prevent somebody from being discharged, that's great for the resident. But you know, how do we incentivize attorneys being willing to do this? And one possibility is that if a pro bono attorney wins the case, then they should be able to recoup whatever their legal fees were from the nursing home, from the facility. So that my feeling is that that serves as a deterrent. Why discharge somebody if you know that you could lose that case? And not only will you have to pay for your attorney, but you'll also have to pay for the resident's attorney. So my hope is that that would encourage the facility, instead of using this drastic measure, call in the ombudsman, let's sit down, let's talk, let's find out if we can negotiate some kind of a win-win, and not use what really is a very unfair playing field. Somebody who can afford a very expensive attorney and somebody who has $50 a month for an attorney. So those are the two bills that we're hoping that we can get Kokua Council to support. Thank you.
Thank you very much, John. Our next presenter is Lourdes Schiebert. Lourdes will be followed by Nicole Wu, then Rick Tabor, and then Ron Shimabuku.
I am Lourdes Schiebert, and I'm an advocate for condominium owners' property rights. I'd first like to thank House Leader Scott Psyche for supporting me in several years of my bill. HB 377 is up again for review, and I will be submitting an amendment to it. But to be all fairness to what I have to say about the leading proxy as a whole, and share to the board of directors, which they control the elections. So I went to the Capitol and I went into the archives and found how those two proxies were started. And in 1984, a report was submitted to Senator Steve Cobb and the Consumer Protection Committee by Bruce Denman and 6 members of the Hawaii Council of Association Apartment Owners that created the two proxies to the board as a whole and share. And the paragraph from that report read, the ad hoc committee and I further believe that such proxies should either be cast as directed by a majority of the directors present or be divided evenly among the directors present. The basis of this position is that one or more directors are frequently absent from association meetings, and at times it might be that a majority of the directors are not present. So fast forward to 2023 and previous years, the opposition has always said that it was created to give the owners a choice on their ballots, on their proxies, which is not true. So they supported always when I would bring this up in a hearing that I would be taking away their right of the owners. But I went further ahead and found an article, a paper by Gregory K. Tanaka that was commissioned by the Hawaii Real Estate Commission in 1991. And the paper is called Dispute Resolution, Philosophical Considerations and Structural Alternatives. You can take this 1991 paper and it'll say the same thing that's been happening in 2023. So Mr. Tanaka identifies 10 factors underlying condo disputes. I just have 3. Lack of education about rules and statutes by owners and boards, an imbalance of power between the board and owners, with associations holding most of the cards and acting upon advice of counsel not to even discuss the matter. The results, even the most minor matters, wind up in a protracted litigation. The last one that I found that was really interesting, now mind you, there's 10, but I just showed 3. The board structure itself may be an underlying source of many disputes. The present structure is modeled after corporate boards. It's best suited to the financial or investment function. It is, however, an awkward structure in relationship to other extremely important association functions, governing and community living. And this is where we are like at an impasse because you have so many people that are being abused. I'm 72 years old, I'm a senior citizen. I can be your auntie, and I can be your mom, and I can be your grandma. And I have been abused. And this is the reason why I come in year after year to get rid of the proxies, because condominium self-governance is not a corporate business. It's a government. Associations should act like governments and not corporate business. Then the natural way to vote is by ballots. Especially with ballots, essentially with ballots, we'll vote for candidates and amendments just like in public elections. So the boards are always with the proxy going to them, will always get the upper hand and get the voting. They already vote before the owners meeting and everything is decided. So if there's an amendment to your declaration, and you give that proxy away, you're giving away a hell of a lot because they can change anything in the documents and you're going to have to abide by them. So be very, very cautious. Thank you. The second one was, was to add to that voter. And I really didn't know this, that someone told me, associations may vote by mailing ballots. Okay, so in this HB 377, this is really a choice, okay? So you can delete the proxies to the board as a whole, because it wasn't intended to be given a choice to the owners. But you know what, we can give the choice to the owners that they may vote by mailing ballots. You're already mailing out proxies. Why don't you mail out the ballots? You have, and then attach whoever is running for the board, attach any amendments, maybe like deleting a safety rule from the House rules. This is like, they can vote for it. If you give your proxy to the board as a whole, and they want to delete that safety rule in the House rules, then you can do that. And you're up for risk as the owner. And a lot of owners in condos are absentee owners. And beware when you rent out your unit, because your tenant will go for deep pockets if anything happens on a safety issue. So be very careful. But what surprised me is that there is a condo that's already doing direct election ballots. They're mailing out their ballots. And all it takes is for someone, a good board, or a good member on the board, to bring about transparency and talking to the owners and say, hey, this is a motion I'm placing on the table. I'd like for you guys to read it, look at it, and I'm going to encourage the board to put out a resolution for approval. And then you can get your approval. 67, 75% of the owners say, hey, that's a better idea than me giving a proxy to the board as a whole, and they go and they do anything with it. By gosh, look at the embezzlement in the recent Makaha sunset. That's really bad. And it's really bad because this is a proprietary accounting system. It should be an international accounting system where any board member can access their books. I would even suggest that the board does not even give the accounting system to the management company, but go out and solicit your own certified public office and have them do your books. Because then you have a better handle on it. This is your money. This is a vote. You only get one vote. That's all you get. And you're going to give it away to a board of directors that have been sitting there for decades, and your buildings have been deteriorating to where assessments are in the millions of dollars, millions. So, thank you.
Thank you, Lourdes. Just want to make a correction. It wasn't Mikasa Sunset, it was Mikasa. Nicole is here. She'll be doing our next presentation. Thank you.
I can, you're gonna have a presentation. Okay, so you're here, so what we're gonna do,
I can do it. The screen share.
okay. Let's see if it actually comes up here, so. There we go, you got it, okay.
Okay, oh, sorry. Need to go back, sorry. Not at the top. Hi there, everyone. Thank you for running such a well-organized meeting, Lila, and thank you for having me at your meeting. I'm Nicole Wu. I'm from Hawaii Children's Action Network, so you might be wondering why a keiki advocate is at a Kokua Council meeting. Hopefully you'll understand in just a few short minutes.
So our big bill for this coming session is paid family leave. And, you know, obviously for a Keiki organization, we are really concerned about new parents not having any paid time off when they have a child. But paid leave is more than that. And if I can go forward, okay. So in a very basic way, paid family leave allows workers to take time off and still receive part of their income. But it's not just when they have a new child, but it's also when they need to care for their own serious health needs or those of a loved one. So that, in other words, means kupuna care, which is why I'm here. So this is just a short sort of broadening of the definition. All right, the first one on the left, you know, bonding, that's when we have a new child. And, you know, the bill that we hope to pass here in Hawaii would not just be for moms who give birth, but also for dads, for adoptive parents, for foster parents, when the new child comes into the home. Also, if one of your family members, your parent, your spouse, your child, your brother, sister is ill, you can take some time off to take care of them at home. And again, here in Hawaii, we hope if we pass a bill here, we would include a night family, because we think that's very important. In some other places, paid family leave includes active duty leave, which is when a military member, service member is deployed and their family needs some time off to handle the deployment. They don't have to try to like juggle between not getting paid and dealing with the deployment. Medical leave is for our own serious illness. That's not like when you got to go take a time off for like having a cold. But if you have something chronic and serious, that's going to take you a while to recover from. And then there's also safe leave. In some places, they have leave for domestic violence survivors if they need to get a restraining order or if they need to move house. This gives them some time to deal with that, but still get some pay. So the United States is the only developed country that doesn't have some sort of national mandatory right to paid family leave. I know that it's really hard to see, so I split it into two. And you can see on the left side, the OECD average is about 1 year. Right below, it's a little over a year. And right below it, a couple below it is Canada, where all of my cousins live. They all get a year off whenever they have a baby. My cousin who had twins got 2 years off paid. And they recently changed it in Canada that you can actually take 18 months if you take like 2/3 of the pay that you would have gotten. So they're letting my cousin who just had a baby gets 18 months, but a little bit less of her payback. And on the right side, you can see all the way at the bottom, the United States, 0 weeks. Sorry. And right above it is Mexico, the second worst country, and they get 12 weeks. So we're really far behind the rest of the world. So to fill that gap, 13 states in the District of Columbia have paid past family leave laws, and we think Hawaii should join them, and we hope you're going to join us in this campaign. So I'm not going to go through all of this because I only have 5 minutes, but right now, workers in Hawaii get some unpaid leave, both from federal and state laws, but it's unpaid. It's mostly only for really large employers, like 100 employees. So we know that those workers who are really living paycheck to paycheck, they're the ones who aren't even, they can't afford to take unpaid leave. So they're really in a bind. And then the last bullet is from AARP, looking at adult, unpaid caregivers of adult family members. Apparently Hawaii is 154,000, providing 144 million hours of unpaid care in 1 year, which is like $2.6 billion of unpaid care. So we just think we've been cobbling this together, and people are having to choose between their families and a paycheck. And we don't think that's right here. And especially with our aging population, this is going to become more and more of a crisis. So again, there's benefits to moms, there's benefits to businesses. Just going to speed through this. So again, the bill that we would hope to pass, which is kind of like how they have it in the other states, is that this would be a state-run benefit program like Social Security or Medicare. So there would be small payroll deductions. It goes into a state fund, and then the workers would apply to the fund to get paid. So in other words, when the worker gets their paid family leave, the employer doesn't have to be paying them at that time, and they can afford to hire some temporary workers. Of course, if the employer wants to pay them extra, like, top off the benefit, that's great. But we're setting a floor here to make sure that workers get some paid time off when they need it. We commissioned a study back in 2017, well, a bunch of us did here in Hawaii, with federal money. It's like 197 pages, and we had federal experts come here to Hawaii to look at it. And quickly, we had an expert look at computer systems, in our state government. We had an actuary look at how much it would cost, and it's feasible, it's doable, it's not expensive. And 94% of Hawaii workers who were in our focus groups supported it. So we hope that you'll join us. And I'm just going to put a link into the website for our campaign. And it's paidleavehawaii.org. And I'm going to show you. So there's a handout I gave out during a meeting. At the paidleavehawaii.org, you can scroll down and find the handout. So, because I want everybody to have the same thing. So that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do that when I get back to my seat.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Nicole. All right, we have Rick Tabor.
All right, so guess what bill I'm going for? Guess what bill I am going for? This is hard. Can you hear me okay? I'll get real close. So for going on 7 years, I've been working on hearing aid bills.
What?
7 years,
I'm
yeah.
kidding.
Yeah. Can you hear me now? I actually got Rotary Club 7 years ago when I joined, was asked to help with hearing aids. And every day since, I've learned a lot about hearing aids. Now, let me tell you, it hasn't been good. So I'll back up. I'm just going to say thank you, everybody, for presenting. I support every one of you and every bill that you've talked about. I think they're all very, very important. Hearing aids. So Barbara and I are in Pabia, and Pabia is actually, I kind of head up the hearing aid thing. So they very much support the hearing aid movement. A lot of people support it. Here's what happened last year. So we had a bill. So I'll just tell you. So it was HB 818 and SB 609. We were moving along just fine, passing everything down to the very last day, to I think the very last hour, I'm told, in our legislative good, bad, ugly review. And then the insurance man for the state said, well, we could pass that, but your premiums are going to skyrocket. So you might remember I said then, I came back with just some facts that I'm going to share here. And the facts basically are, I'm actually, just for fun, I am going to go down to, so severe to profound hearing loss costs society on the average of over $300,000 in a lifetime per individual. Higher total healthcare costs compared to those who don't have hearing loss, an average of 46%, totaling $22,434 per person over a decade. Basically, how much does hearing loss cost society? Results, this is a John Hopkins research. Total global economic costs for hearing loss exceed $981 billion. 40% of the costs were related to quality of life losses, with 32% due to additional costs of poor health in people with hearing loss. 57% of costs were outside high-income countries. 6.5% costs were children ages up to 14. So My answer to the good, bad, and ugly, to the premiums costing us more because it's gonna cost insurance companies more, is it's costing us more right now already. And right after that, our insurance went up quite a bit actually, so because everybody's aging out. So let me back up. So the first bill that I would support that we do, if it gets introduced again, and I'm still waiting for Senator Joy Benaventura to let me know if the deafblind task force, if they're going to introduce it again, and that's for $1,500 per hearing aid for 36 months. And that's mandatory, Medicare, Medicaid, insurance, the way it was written the last time. So if that bill gets reintroduced, I'd like us to support that, or I certainly do support that. But what I'd like to do this year is to go for a resolution. So go for a reso. And the resolution would be recommending annual hearing assessments for people 60 years and older, in addition to resubmitting that $1,500 per year bill. In May of 2023, the Surgeon General warned loneliness can increase the risk of premature death by 26% and raise the likelihood of heart disease, stroke, anxiety, depression, and dementia. Those costs I was talking about, that's what that's related to. By 2050, nearly 2.5 billion people are projected to have some degree of hearing loss. At least 700 million will require hearing rehabilitation. Over 1 billion young adults are at risk of permanent, avoidable hearing loss due to unsafe listening practices. They're putting their headphones on. Oh, I did it when I was a kid, and blasting their ears off, but they're doing it a lot more now because they're gaming and other things. I actually heard just Saturday morning, Friday morning, I might have sent it to you. So I sent some of you guys my little blogs. Myopia is in a crisis right now. Our kids are, because they're doing so much of this, they're nearsighted now. And not only are they nearsighted, because their eyes not shaping correctly, they're actually finding it's not so much genetic, it's actually environmental also. So they're spending so much time up against the screen here that, I don't know, 5 seconds left? Oh, I got to. Oh, okay, well, we're good. Anyway, they're going blind, because what's happening with myopia is also the glaucoma and everything is happening at a much earlier age. So this is a side, but eyesight is not covered either. Hearing aids aren't covered, and only just now are teeth being covered again after 10 years of being not covered. So we're not covering things. Now, there's another research that's actually showing, or actually it's directly from insurance. They're not covering it because they know it's going to cost them too much to cover it. They're more about the profits. So I'm just going to be like, just the reality here. It's all about profits. If you invested in a company, it's all about the profits. And really, it's about that CEO getting paid very high. It's not so much about the people and what needs to be covered. And so I'm not going to say I know how insurance works economically. There's a whole little formula that goes on, but we're the only country doing this. So just like was just shared, healthcare, we're like the bottom rung, you know, in healthcare compared to other developed countries. So the insurance system isn't working the way it is, and the insurance system is killing this hearing aid bill every year. 7 years ago, the comment that was made, and I got up and did a testimony afterwards, was that hearing aids is cosmetic. Hearing aids are cosmetic. That's what the insurance folks said. So we're not covering it because it's cosmetic. It's not cosmetic. So here's the alarming thing that's going on that really concerns me. An estimate of 684,000 total falls occur each year. It's the second leading, and some places say it's the first leading cause of accidental death in America and around the world. The problem is that if you have hearing loss, your inner ear, the vestibular system, the system has 3 fluid-filled loops. If any of them are damaged, it's very difficult to walk. It's very difficult to maintain your balance, and people are falling, and they're either being seriously injured or they're dying. So, true story, just 3 weeks ago, my mom fell. She's in a nursing home. She's 4th-stage dementia. She's a real handful. She fell. She broke her neck. She broke her clavicle. She broke her humerus bone.
and they can't do anything about it. Her birthday's today. She's 89 years old. Happy birthday, Mom. She's laid up in the bed. She doesn't know what's going on. She's not in pain, but she's on, they're calling it comfort care. She's adamantly opposed to hospice, so they tell her she's on comfort care right now. So I tell you this story because my brothers went in, they gave her a fish tank. They went in to clean the fish tank, and they lifted the fish tank up. That's where her hearing aids were that had been missing for 3 weeks. She hit them out of the fish tank. Only 16%. I said 18% before, but now I looked it up and it's, 16% of folks that need to wear hearing aids are wearing them. So notice how I'm saying that. Even if they get the hearing aids, they're not wearing them consistently. So I would like to propose that we do a I've talked to the governor, I've talked to Senator Mower Q, I've talked to Senator Joy Bonaventura, and what I'd like to promote is that we do a resolution that folks 60 years or older have their hearing checked, have a full assessment. The average person is waiting 15 to 20 years after hearing loss happens to get it checked, and it's usually a partner. So I've shared this story, but I'll say it again just for the record. A friend of mine that actually approves the hearing aids that we're giving away at Rotary, he said at the very beginning, he supports it because 1 year for Christmas, he asked his wife what she wanted for Christmas. And she said, I want you to get hearing aids. Save their marriage. But I'll stop there. Thank you. I have a ton of stuff. If you want more information, and frankly, all you got to do is go in and Google hearing aids and just start reading. And it's just appalling what all happens. And several people in the audience have sent me a lot of articles that are very, very good. Fact is, insurances are going to fight this tooth and nail to the end. It's no different than your condo association. This is money. This is money that they want, and they're actually not using it. And I'm just going to be blunt. They're not using it to care for folks. And so we've run into every hurdle imaginable. And so part of the resolution is if people actually went in and got their hearing checked and found that they needed hearing aids, they'd be flooding the insurances with requests. So I'll do one last and I'll let you stop. Just last week, my cousin, we had a gathering birthday party. He got his hearing aids replaced. He spent $9,000 on the hearing aids. You want to know how much the insurance covered? $700. They cover it. That's what they always say. We cover it.
Thank you very much, Rick. All right, our next presenter is Ron Shimabuku. Is Ron available?
Hi, Lila, I'm here. Can you hear me okay? Awesome.
We can.
And Doug, I'm going to be sharing my screen if that's okay.
All good.
Awesome. So Lila, Rick, Doug, and the council, thank you for your time and allowing me to share the legislative priorities of the Alzheimer's Association. I do also want to mahalo all of the supporters who provided testimony and support in the success of our proposal this past session, which was successful, really looking at educating the public on the Alzheimer's disease and dementia. So that's set to take off. We're working closely with the Executive Office on Aging to carry that through. So mahalo for that. Let me share my screen. Can you folks see my screen okay?
Good start. There we go. It's all coming in clear.
Great. Okay, so the first, I have two proposals. The first one is with respect to a silver alert. So what is a silver alert, you may ask? So it's basically a notification system specifically for kupuna with dementia and or other cognitive impairment. Those who may wonder, just to aid in their quick recovery. So many of us are familiar with not only the silver alert, but also the Miley Amber Alert we have here in the islands, specific to children who have been abducted. So just to level set with everyone, the silver alert is what I had just mentioned. As far as where the Alzheimer's Association fits in our position, it's really a comprehensive approach addressing the needs of individuals living with dementia, their ohana, and effectively disseminating information about missing individuals with Alzheimer's disease to the appropriate local law enforcement and community support networks. Just some information on the silver alert. So this is a bit dated back to December 2016. But I will share that 29,000 individuals that we know of, 65 and older, have dementia in Hawaii. 6 in 10 are prone to wandering. So those with the disease are prone to wander. So again, as of December, the Silver Alert programs across the country, I will say that more than half of the states across the country have some type of Silver Alert program in statute. Whether they call it a Silver Alert or not, that differs. But I will say more than half of the states across the country. So hopefully, well, Hawaii will not be the first and hopefully not the last. I want to say 33 at this point have something in statute. As you can see there, the following bullets, 21 states have programs that specify adults with cognitive impairments. 8 states have programs that specify adults with cognitive or developmental impairments. 4 states plus the district have programs that relate to older adults. 11 states have programs that are wide-ranging in scope, super general. And then 7 states plus Puerto Rico have not established a Silver Alert program, which is one of which is Hawaii. So as you can see there, the criteria that's set varies from state to state. So unlike the Miley Amber Alert, there is no federal law for the Silver Alert program. This is a little map. Again, this is pretty dated, but from December 2016, the different, as I mentioned, those various bullets and the different states that have a Silver Alert program in statute. Now, just a little, again, background, the Miley Alert versus the Silver Alert, there is a difference, again, as I mentioned, children versus adults. Miley Amber Alert was established in 2005. The Missing Child Center of Hawaii is housed within the Attorney General's office. So they basically are your office for missing children when they get abducted and gets reported up to that the AG's office. Primarily serving minors. It's funded through the federal government, not issued frequently. And so basically the criteria is law enforcement confirms the child is missing, believes the child is in danger, and then sufficient information is available about the child abductor and or their vehicle. So that's the Miley Amber Alert. Now the Silver Alert primarily serves adults and issued when a vulnerable adult has wandered. Again, each state has their own separate program for those who have a statute in place. It's issued quite frequently, and many persons with Alzheimer's disease who wander do so repeatedly. So as you can imagine, it can occur quite frequently. And most people with dementia who wander are found within less than 1.5 miles from their home. Let's see. So our proposal is to establish a Silver Alert program to alert the public of missing adults with a developmental disability or cognitive impairment in which causes a credible threat to their health or that of others. So some of the criteria that we are currently considering, and again, we're still in draft. I'm in the process of speaking with law enforcement, legal, and stakeholders on this criteria before it's presented to the legislature. But the first one there is we opened it up to adults, so 18 years of older. What you'll see in some states is 65 and older, 60 and older. However, we felt as if, with respect to Alzheimer's disease, we're seeing early and early onset of the disease. So the 60-65 criteria will no longer apply. So really opening it up for adults. And then we're working also with the Developmental Disabilities Council to include the developmentally disabled, so the DD population. And again, those who are cognitively impaired. And the other key piece to this criteria is they pose really a threat to their livelihood, right? Their life and or those of others. Secondly, each of the county agencies, law enforcement agencies have their own process for missing persons. So ensuring that process is exhausted before notifying the authority, notifying the state agency who will house this program. The agency determines that the person has gone missing under unexplained or suspicious circumstances. The law enforcement agency believes the person is in great danger, and information is available that, if disseminated to the public, could assist in the safe recovery of the missing person. So again, sort of similar to that of the Miley Alert. Moving on to our second proposal, this one is fairly quick. It's proposing required law enforcement dementia training. So law enforcement is key, sort of tied to the Silver Alert program, where they're going to be the first on the scene, first, looking for these individuals. So ensuring that law enforcement are at least have the baseline understanding of dementia, recognizing the signs. As you can see there, the training to include the following: recognizing the signs, assessing cognition, best practices, and then being able to intervene as necessary. So we feel as if it's important to get law enforcement officers trained in dementia. And I will say, all of the counties are doing it somehow, dementia training. So, it's a matter of ensuring that it is a priority going forward, hence adding it, potentially codifying it into the statute, the law. I think that's it. I do have additional slides dating back on the Silver Alert program. It dates back to 2010. Be happy to share more information on that as questions arise. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. Please stay for questions and answers. All right, let's see, Doug, do we have Marcia on Zoom?
Let's see. I don't see a Marcia.
Mhm. So I think we have all the presentations done. We'll go into questions and answers in a moment, but I request everyone who has a proposal, once you have your proposal named, like HB123 or SB345 or whatever, please let Kokua Council know. You all have our kokuacouncil.hawaii@gmail.com address, so that we may share it with the Kokua Council membership. All right, I'd like to open the floor to questions, and I'm going to start with a question.
You're the boss.
Has the measure already been introduced in previous years, or is this going to be a new proposal?
That's why it starts on.
Oh, I don't.
Oh, sorry, it's been introduced in previous years and we can get you the bill number when we have it.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And then, second question, this goes to Ron, Alzheimer's. Ron, so the second measure, since it's going to be law enforcement training, that's a county level function, right? So you're going to be proposing it to all counties or just Honolulu City and County?
For the state of Hawaii, so all law enforcement officers. So as of January 1st, 2024, the new Department of Law Enforcement will be in place. So we're working with the Department of Law Enforcement and their leadership there to implement at the state as well as the county levels. So it'll impact law enforcement at state and city levels.
Thank you. I was not aware that we had a state level law Department of Law Enforcement. Thank you very much. All right, who else has questions? Can you come up here, please?
Yeah, come up.
See, my question was on HB178. It didn't even get a hearing, did it? Okay, my granddaughter is an alumni of Pacific Buddhist Academy, and one of the things that she's talking while being a student here is yin and yang. So my yin is believing the process as the whole. My yang is to enact an ombudsman program. And I just want to read the first page of the bill, HB number 178, section 1. The legislature finds that while homeowner association self-governance can be successful in the state, there have been many cases of abuse of power and other acts of malfeasance by certain association boards, association management, managing agents and their employees, and association attorneys clogging courts with litigation. This is further evidenced by public statements by leading insurance professionals that Hawaii has the highest number of association directors and officers liability insurance claims in the nation. assertions that are more alarming because Hawaii has a comparatively small fraction of number of homeowners associations in other states. The legislature also finds that a central enforcement body is needed to address the systematic problems faced by many owners whose properties are governed by homeowners associations and are subject to retribution and retaliation from boards and their members. Association management, managing agents and their employees and other representing the association. This retaliation harasses owners and impacts them emotionally and financially with unwarranted and improper fines and assessments, legal costs and foreclosures. So just to name a few, the purpose of this act is to establish an ombudsman office for homeowner associations within the Department of Commerce and Consumer Affairs to serve as resource for members of homeowner association, provide an office for association members to bring complaints for investigation and a process to dispute intervention through the office. And so I'm gonna just stop there. My concern is that if the legislature really wants to know what ordinary people like myself are subjected to in this kind of abuse, you should have these hearings. So ordinary people like me can submit my testimony and make you realize that nothing is hunky-dory for the last 40, 50 years. And with the 1991 Gregory's paper, it's the same thing, except it's escalated and doubled and tripled with people and the courts being clogged. I just wanted to say that the legislature should listen to this bill and have open discussion on it. It's not fair if you don't. Thank you.
Trina Becker just entered, I don't know.
So Tina has a question, is that,
No, she just entered into the,
all right,
Something important.
we have your.
Thank you. I forgot to mention, the bill number is still good for 2024. House Bill 1298, which is introduced by Micah PKIU. Okay, it's Monroe Valley area. But he annotated on here, introduced by request of another party. Then down at the Capitol, it's always a kiss of death for any bill. It really needs to support.
yeah.
His mother is Senator Donna Mercado Kim. She introduced the Senate version, SB 1512. She copied me on an email where she asked the appropriate committee chair, Jarrett Keohopolole, for a meeting with him to talk about the importance of this for the HOA community. Silence, I never heard anything more about it. But as I said before, I'm just one person asking for these bills to get a hearing. So it's gonna take more than me, folks. Because I'm not gonna give Jared a cash stuff envelope. All right? And over in the house, the chair is Mark Nakashima. That's why they didn't do some silence. Also, as for me, condo advocates with the committees, silence. All right? Thank you.
Thank you, Jill. Nicole, I have a question for you. Nicole, you were suggesting that a small payroll deduction should be made. Do you have an idea of like what percent or anything like that?
This is a hard question to get at, but we're trying to answer it. One thing that we're looking at right now is that temporary disability insurance, which we have in Hawaii. Like if you get sick or if you give birth, you get like 6 to 8 weeks. We're seeing that right now, that's about 0.4% of payroll. So there's a question about whether or not we roll TDI into this paid family leave. So that's just a side thing. on our website, we actually link out to a bunch of studies, and if you look at other states, their paid family leave is ranging everywhere from about like 0.5% of payroll to 1.5%. I'm seeing the average is around 2/3 to 1% of payroll. But as I said, that's might be including the TBI being rolled in and reducing, getting rid of that amount. So I don't have a really simple question, but I would say under 1% for sure. And we're going to try to get closer to that answer as we get closer to the session.
My name is Helen Wagner, but I wanted to direct this to Nicole. I have advocated for grandparents raising grandchildren. I have advocated and served on different task forces regarding this subject. And one of the things that has come up, just like the caregiver, once grandparents take care of the kids take care of the grandparents on this. Who is actually, like, I think there's something about $3,000 for caregivers to be compensated if they decide to take leave of absence. Do they have to pay that back after their estate goes to probate? Because a lot of people feel that this can be abused. There are women who used to have, you'll say, their babies in the rice fields and get up and work. Nowadays, the women want to take off 1.5 years for bonding. And yet when we ask these mothers, well, what if we give you the option to work from home, which is now because of COVID, something that a lot of young mothers and young families are still trying and still doing. Who actually pays for this leave? I know you said it takes out of the paychecks, but actually, is that free? Or did it eventually have to be back what they're given during these leaves? Because so much of this makes it seem like it's all free. And a lot of people feel, why are we paying for a woman who is saying she can't go to work because she wants to bond with the baby? And yet these same women have 4 cars in their driveway because they have their kids all out in cars. They go to work, they go to the beauty shop, they get their nails done. And they showed sometimes it doesn't even pay for the mother to work, because they should be bonding with the child. And the whole system is becoming so lost. There's no families that have that unity anymore. The kids are being shuffled off to different things are in those computers, like you said. But seriously, who is actually, I know you said, oh, well, we'll take it out of their paychecks. But again, will that money be cash free? Because even the caregivers, the adult caregivers that are taking these deductions have been abused so much for the seniors that are caregiving. And I've seen where they put in the claim, but where does that money actually come from? Or will they eventually have to pay it back?
Well, I'm sorry that I wasn't clear when I explained it. This would be a program like Social Security or Medicare, and you don't have to pay back your Social Security or Medicare benefits after you die.
We put on that money for care for Social Security is our money.
Yeah,
It isn't like the government is giving it to us.
right. So if you couldn't hear her question, she said Social Security is our money. The government isn't giving to us. That's exactly right. So this is the same sort of thing. It would, I mean, again, as anybody who's been through legislative session knows, What we start with might not be what we end with, but part of why we want a really strong coalition and why I'm coming here is that we need everyone from the keiki groups like mine to your groups, or else it's not going to be a good bill. So our hope is that it's just like the Social Security and Medicare. That's what they're doing in other states. California's had it for 20 years now, and every other developed country.
Right.
So it's taken out of your paycheck,
Right.
and then you get part pay. Wealthy people would get less percent of their pay back while they're on leave. That's one thing they learned in California, is that if you just give a flat amount, the lower income people still struggle and can't afford to take the time off. So the high, and that's the same thing with Social Security. Yeah, so the higher, and that's another thing we would hope this bill has, is that the higher income people get a smaller percent back. Lower income people get higher percent, because they learned in California and other states that that's what we need. And, honestly, you mentioned, there's a lot of wealthy women who might not need this time off. The professional women are already getting paid family leave from their employers. So really, this is setting kind of a baseline, a floor, especially for the lower income working class families who really struggle. They're the ones who need this the most, and their employers are the ones who probably aren't already giving it to them. So I hope that addresses some of your concern.
Actually, I have a question.
Yeah, Doug?
I don't think we need a camera. Up here, just past couple summers I visited Germany, where they have great parental leave and that sort of thing. They also have really strong unions. They had a one-day general strike this past year. They cut everything, transportation, airline, bus, tram, and everything. And it was done with a great deal of public support, because there's a lot of support for unions. How did the unions feel about this?
That's a very good question, Doug. But I do want to take less than a minute and this aside. I have 3 friends who live in Germany from 3 different parts of my life. They're all American women. For different reasons, they're in Germany. They're raising their kids there. And they get 2 years off paid. And they told me that if you try to go back to work early in Germany, the other German parents look at you like you're a bad parent. One of my friends tried to go back after 18 months, and the German parents were like, "What's wrong? You're a bad mother." So the attitude towards family, right, and how important, we know 0 to 3 is such an important time for children. Of course, I'm a keiki advocate, but on the flip side, this is also for kakuna care. We need to care for our spouses. My father actually passed last year, but if I had needed to take time off, it would have been really hard. I work for a nonprofit, I don't make a lot of money. Luckily my family was able to cobble together to care for him and my stepmother when they became ill. But unions, that was Doug's question. So I look back in the archives of the state legislature's website. The farthest back you can go is 2002 to look at what bills were introduced. There were 2 paid family leave bills in 2002, and there have been bills on and off since then. We did a big push in 2018, and there was an issue with the unions who did not want more of a payroll deduction. They're saying, oh, it should come all from the employers, none from the employees. We've been talking to them more over the years, and I have a feeling that they're going to be supportive, even if the payroll deduction part of it goes to the employees. In different states, they split it different ways. I think for our bill, we'll start out with 50-50. That's how Social Security works. We'll see where we go from there. But yeah, unions, I'm hoping that we do a better job getting them into our coalition than we did in 2018. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, any more questions? What about the Zoom audience? Any questions?
Let me check the chat.
All right.
No, I think we're good.
All right, it's 101. Oh, Barbara, come on up.
I don't want to. Barbara, did I?
I just wanted to confirm with Ron Shimabuku, the silver alert is not, has a bill number yet.
Hey, Barbara. I think your question was if it has a bill number yet?
Correct.
No, not at this moment. We're working with the legislature to ensure that that happens.
Thank you, Ron.
You're welcome.
Thank you to everyone who presented your proposals and for taking our questions. Oh, Rick, I'm sorry, I didn't see you.
I don't know if you're gonna cover it. So the Kapuna caucus, legislative Kapuna caucus, if you have bills that you'd like them to support, we need to get them in by no later than November 2nd. They'll be presented on November 3rd. Not much time.
Thank you, Rick, for your announcement. All right, so anyway, thank you to all the presenters and to the audience. Thank you for joining us for our 2023 annual community forum. Once you have your bills named, numbered, please share them with Kokua Council. Our email address is kokuacouncil.hawaii@gmail.com. And we would like to share that information with our members. Our next meeting is about food sustainability, food shortages, and that will be on the 4th Monday of November. Again, it will be a hybrid meeting. I hope that all of you will join us. Thank
It'll be
you.
smoother. The technology will be smoother next time.
Thank you very much for joining our inaugural hybrid meeting. Mahalo to everyone. Please be well, and we'll see you in November.
Thank you, everyone.